Here's a detailed breakdown of how we address methane SIBO, or an overgrowth of methane-producing archaea in the small intestine, and the severe bloating and constipation that often comes with it. My name is Bella, and I'm a functional nutritionist and founder of the Functional Gut Health Clinic, where we help clients with SIBO and other digestive conditions take back control of their gut health. In this next video of our SIBO series, we're going to walk through our approach to addressing methane SIBO comprehensively and holistically, including the foods to include and avoid to get symptoms under control quickly, our go-to natural antimicrobials for targeting archaea in the small intestine, and how to support digestion, detoxification, and motility to keep everything running smoothly until balance is restored. So we're starting with methane SIBO because it's the most common type of SIBO that we see in our clinic. It was also the type that I battled with personally, and so it's a topic pretty close to my heart. For many years, practitioners didn't even test for methane SIBO or EMO. Hydrogen SIBO was really the focus, and since we've been developing our methane SIBO framework for about a decade now, we've seen hundreds, if not thousands, of methane SIBO cases, and it's sort of a specialty area for us. So let's start with an overview of our methane SIBO framework and then work our way through each section. The first thing you'll notice is our approach is more than just diet and herbal antimicrobials. Those are doing a lot of the heavy lifting, but in most cases, particularly with the more challenging clients with higher methane gas levels, just diet and herbs aren't enough, or at least aren't enough to get through the process in a tolerable way that allows you to live your life while following a protocol. Let me explain our approach as a whole, then we can get into the specifics. So our process is broken down into two phases. So phase 1 is an eradication phase, and phase 2 is relapse prevention. Why? Because some studies suggest that relapse rates for methane SIBO or IMO, intestinal methanogen overgrowth, can be as high as 60% within the first year if you don't address it properly. Let's take a closer look at phase 1. First, we have diet considerations, then we'll discuss eradication options with a focus on natural herbal antimicrobials. We'll touch on pre- and probiotics for microbiome support before working through supports for detoxification and drainage, digestion, and most importantly, motility. We'll also discuss the importance of identifying SIBO root causes to prevent relapse or recurring SIBO. The first thing to really help get methane SIBO symptoms under control quickly is diet. The reason a methane SIBO diet is helpful is that it can help reduce symptoms in the short term and lay the foundation for healing. So basically, it restricts the food supply to the bacteria and archaea responsible for slowing transit and causing excess gas and bloating, which is going to make you feel so much more comfortable. Diet changes can be used anywhere along the SIBO healing journey, but you want to keep in mind that we're aiming to follow a restricted diet for the shortest time possible to preserve diversity in the gut microbiome. We've also seen clinical studies that show that SIBO diets are 60 to 90% effective for symptom reduction, depending on the SIBO diet you choose. While we customize our methane SIBO diet recommendations to each individual client, here are some of the general things that we consider for clients with methane SIBO. The first is fermentable fibers. We know that archaea feed off hydrogen gas, so what do hydrogen gas producing bacteria feed off? The answer is fermentable carbohydrates. This is why diets like low FODMAP are often used to restrict fermentable fiber content for people who have SIBO. However, for methane SIBO and constipation, reducing fiber will often make constipation worse. Why? Because fiber helps bulk the stool and draw water into the colon to soften it. And also fiber is fermented by gut bacteria producing short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. These short-chain fatty acids stimulate colonic muscles to enhance motility. They also help to regulate the water balance in the colon to help keep stools soft and easy to pass. For these reasons, we actually don't recommend cutting out all fiber for methane SIBO, and why diets that remove all high fermentable fiber foods can cause further issues if we don't adapt them properly. So yes, we do use the SIBO-specific food guide and the SIBO biphasic diet with clients who are very symptomatic, but we aim to adapt these to include more fiber sources that the client can tolerate. Both of these diets are more restrictive, but they can achieve about 75 to 90% average symptom reduction. Less restrictive diet options that you can consider are specific carbohydrate diet or SCD, gut and psychology syndrome diet or GAPS, a low FODMAP diet, paleo, fast track diet, or the CEDARS low fermentation diet. And all of these will need to be customized too. With any of these diets, it's important to try and increase fiber and polyphenols where they're tolerated to help feed up the beneficial bacteria that support colonic motility. So here are a few higher fiber foods we like to incorporate and prioritize for our clients with Methane SIBO. We have flax seeds, berries, nuts and seeds, brown rice, quinoa, and green tea. And a final dietary recommendation we like to make that's been shown to reduce methane and hydrogen sulfide gas production is adding in isoflavones found in soy products. So how does this work? Well, some of the bacteria in the gut use hydrogen gas to convert a soy isoflavone into something called equal, leaving less hydrogen gas for methane and sulfate-reducing bacteria to consume. So including lower FODMAP and organic fermented soy products like tamari, tempeh, and miso, if tolerated, can be a helpful addition to a Methane SIBO diet. As you now know, diet can be a great tool for getting symptoms under control in the short term, but when it comes to actually eradicating the archaea overgrowth in the small intestine, what do we rely on to do most of the heavy lifting? Antimicrobials. Antimicrobials are natural herbal-based supplements that are essentially the natural version of an antibiotic. And for Methane SIBO, scientific studies suggest that they're actually more effective. And because we know they cause less collateral damage to our beneficial gut microbes, can also address some other opportunistic overgrowths, and are generally less aggressive, natural antimicrobials are our preferred eradication option for Methane SIBO. There are two important principles to keep in mind when using antimicrobials to eradicate Methane SIBO. Number one is combine to kill. There are a few different species of bacteria and archaea that cause SIBO, and not all antimicrobials can kill off all types. The best way to overcome this is by using two different herbs at the same time. And what we've seen clinically is that there is no added benefit from using three or more. We have successfully eradicated Methane SIBO for hundreds, if not thousands, of clients, and our preference is to use single herbs rather than blends. Why? Because some clients are very sensitive or their gas levels are so high that we need to complete multiple rounds of intervention. If you use a single herb, you can keep your options open for later rounds, which leads us to my next principle, which is rotate to avoid resistance. Bacteria and archaea are smart and they adapt quite quickly. And we've found that the effectiveness of a herbal intervention does start to decrease after about 4 to 6 weeks. So rotating the antimicrobials you use is our preferred approach for Methane SIBO. Keep in mind that multiple intervention rounds are often required for Methane SIBO, especially if gas levels are up around 50 parts per million or higher. While specific brands and dosages are being updated all the time, and it's recommended that you check those with your health practitioner, our current preference for Methane SIBO is to use the following herbal antimicrobial combinations. Combination 1 is allicin and oregano, 2 is allicin and neem, 3 is allicin and berberine, and 4 is neem and oregano. Allicin comes from garlic, so you need to be careful which product you choose. We don't use whole garlic or garlic oil due to its prebiotic content, as these products can make clients very symptomatic. Our clients typically use up to 900 milligrams 3 times daily of allicin. Oregano is a very strong antimicrobial herb and should be used with caution if you know you have a depleted gut microbiome. We either use a dried emulsified tablet or liquid capsules. For the dried product, our clients typically use around 100 milligrams 3 times daily, or 250 to 300 milligrams 3 times daily of the liquid product. Neem is usually very well tolerated by our clients, so we use it often, and our clients typically use around 600 milligrams 3 times daily. Berberine can be problematic for many and commonly causes nausea, which was my personal experience. So if our clients do choose to use berberine, it's normally between 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams 3 times daily. Atrantil is another tool that can work really well for Methane SIBO symptoms because it blocks methane. Unfortunately, it isn't as effective as an antimicrobial, but it can be used if needed for clients who have issues with allicin. Our clients typically use around 550 milligrams 3 times daily when combined with either oregano, neem, or berberine. Finding high-quality versions of these products can be challenging, which is why we've opened up our full script dispensary at 20% off recommended retail to anyone in the US. And we really want people to be able to access the tools that they may need to heal. There's a link in the description for those who are interested. And as with all supplement recommendations, please consult with your qualified healthcare provider before starting a new product to make sure that it's right for you. Another eradication approach we often consider for very stubborn Methane SIBO is the elemental diet. If various rounds and combinations of herbal antimicrobials or antibiotics haven't been successful, the elemental diet has pretty strong clinical evidence for reducing hydrogen, which we know is the fuel source for methane-producing archaea. It's basically a liquid diet of pre-digested nutrients that are absorbed into the upper part of the small intestine, and this effectively starves the bacteria in the lower part of the small intestine that's responsible for feeding Methane SIBO. But it still feeds the person. Given this approach starves beneficial gut bacteria, it's best used as a last resort and for short periods of time to avoid long-term dysbiosis. The ED can reduce gas levels very quickly, so it can save a lot of time and expense that comes with multiple rounds of herbal antimicrobials. Gas levels typically reduce from around 50 to 70 parts per million per 2 weeks on the elemental diet. The summarized version of the process is no solid food or drinks, just water and the elemental diet for 2 weeks. Then you want to retest on the morning of day 15 after the 2 weeks are finished. So the ED is your test prep diet the day before SIBO testing. If gas levels are still elevated, I wouldn't use the ED again for about 1 to 2 months to allow time for your gut microbiome to recover. And you can use antimicrobials while you're taking a break from the ED if they're needed. While it is possible to make your own, our clients have found that it's easier to use a pre-made product like the Physician's Elemental Diet by Integrative Therapeutics, because it comes with a balance of macronutrients, minerals, essential vitamins, and electrolytes that can be used as a sole source of nutrition intake. We typically prefer the dextrose-free formulation, especially for clients who are wanting a lower sugar option because they might have a fungal overgrowth or SIFO in the small intestine. Methanogenic archaea can form biofilm that support their metabolic activity and keep them protected. Biofilms are colonies of microorganisms that are sheltered by an extracellular matrix, which we think of simplistically as like a protective home for the organisms to live in. Unfortunately, this protective home can make archaea much more resistant and difficult to eradicate. And this is why a comprehensive Methane SIBO protocol will generally include a biofilm disrupting agent, like Biofilm Defense by Kirkman Labs or Interphase Plus by Claire Labs, to bust up the biofilm and release the archaea so that the antimicrobials can do their work. When it comes to Methane SIBO, our long-term goal is to achieve an abundant and diverse gut microbiome. And so the focus on starving microbes with diet and eradicating them with antimicrobials can be effective in the short term, but if it's not well managed or balanced with other strategies, it can cause longer-term problems. And for this reason, we need to include some microbiome supports. After antimicrobials, or in some cases at the same time, we'll consider adding in a prebiotic called partially hydrolyzed guar gum, or PHGG, that has been shown to reduce methane gas levels. PHGG helps to feed up good bacteria that are anti-inflammatory, improve transit time, and restores balance to the small intestine. A product we often recommend to our clients is Tomorrow's Nutrition's Sunfiber. And for the clients who decide to give this product a go, we start with very small amounts and we titrate very slowly. We have to be careful because PHGG can cause gas and bloating if you go too quickly. We use probiotics to help with symptoms like constipation and to help with reducing methane levels in those who can't tolerate antimicrobial herbs. Bifidobacterium lactis, the HN019 strain, has been shown to improve transit time, And Lactobacillus reuteri, the 17938 strain, has a beneficial effect on chronic constipation via decreases in methane production. These strains are in many probiotic supplements such as BioGaia Protectus and Zymogen ProbioMax. For both prebiotics and probiotics, it can be a delicate balance with Methane SIBO. So my best advice for our clients is to start low and increase really slowly. These products are worth persisting with as you aim to support your gut microbiome. When Methane SIBO disrupts gut function, short-term use of digestive support products can aid digestion until the gut is back to normal function. Methane can slow gut motility, which can impact the brush border, where digestive enzymes are produced in the small intestine. So we like to use digestive enzyme supplements to help break down food properly to avoid that excess fermentation and gas production. We're often recommending digestive enzymes to almost all of our clients who have Methane SIBO. They commonly use Enzymedica Digest Gold with AT Pro, and we've found that this product is really well tolerated. Another aspect of supporting digestion that doesn't receive the attention it deserves is the importance of rest and daily stress reduction practices. These might sound simple, but it's about increasing blood flow to the GI tract and increasing parasympathetic tone in the enteric nervous system, or the ENS. When the body's stressed, it deprioritizes certain functions like digestion in favor of others like blood flow to muscles to run, for example. Practically, this means trying to be more relaxed, especially before eating, to help support digestion. Things like meditation, breathing exercises, and yoga can also reduce stress and improve digestion in general. As bacteria and archaea are killed off, they release toxic byproducts into the GI tract that typically promote an inflammatory response from the immune system. We've written a detailed blog on the science of die-off and common die-off symptoms, but in short, the most common SIBO die-off symptoms that we see clinically while clients are following a protocol of recommendations are fatigue, headaches, body aches and pains, skin rashes and reactions, mood symptoms like anxiety and depression, and just general increases in GI upset. The key to reducing the severity of SIBO die-off symptoms is to reduce the rate of cell death by titrating in diet changes and supplements slowly. Reduce inflammation by getting sufficient rest and using antioxidant and anti-inflammatory foods and supplements like your omega-3s. Support detoxification pathways, including the liver, by adding in liver support blends and binders as you need them. There's a lot more detail in our die-off blog post and our free die-off e-guide if you need more support with this. I'll link it below in the description as a resource. Since impaired small intestine motility is the most common cause of SIBO relapse, I want to focus on this for a minute to share the latest updates. In the literature, 2/3 of SIBO cases relapse. The average relapse time in studies is about 2 to 2.5 months. And often this is because SIBO root causes haven't been identified or addressed. And if we do a better job at this, there'll be less relapse happening. One of the best tools we have to support motility in the small intestine and reduce relapse is prokinetics. They stimulate the migrating motor complex, which sweeps bacteria and archaea out of the small intestine. The migrating motor complex is the body's primary protection against SIBO, and prokinetics work to turn up the strength or effectiveness of the vinculin motor proteins in the migrating motor complex. We often start clients on a prokinetic during Methane SIBO eradication to see if we can get an improvement in constipation, which happens some of the time, but also to make sure that the client is tolerating the product. We also like clients to take prokinetics for a minimum of 3 months to get past the big relapse period. There are many options for prokinetic supplements out there, but the ones that we like best are ginger root or combinations with ginger. If clients don't tolerate ginger, then they often choose iberogast, which is a blend of 6 herbs, which is shown to improve MMC function. As you can see, addressing Methane SIBO is a complex process with many moving parts. The microbiome and our gut health are also always changing, and so we aren't addressing Methane SIBO in a vacuum. Life changes things. The first eradication protocol changes things. So an effective approach is one that's tailored to the person. At the Functional Gut Health Clinic, we have supported hundreds, if not thousands, of clients with Methane SIBO, and we understand the importance of a tailored, individualized approach. If you think you have Methane SIBO or you've tested positive already and you need support, please reach out via the link in the description to connect with one of our SIBO specialists who can help you take back control of your gut health.